Welcome to the 5S Plus video on the sense of hearing. We have explored a tremendous amount of ways that our senses inform our leadership. Hearing is listening. Whether in a boardroom, chaotic emergency room, a busy hospital floor, or outpatient clinic. As leaders, the sounds we pick up on expand our awareness of the issue or challenge before us. Hearing allows us to understand the depth of a situation that talking may not achieve. And yet the sounds of silence simplify the vision of what is right in front of us, this present moment. Let's explore the sound of leadership.
I think of sound and music as a form of connection, as a form of relationship. It's an exchange.
One of the greatest spiritual needs for people, for all people, is the sense of connection and the sense of being part of a community.
Music offers a sense of belonging to a greater community, a sense that one is not alone. And music speaks to the human experience.
The human voice carries qualities on the breath. So when you talk to someone, when you sing to someone, there's a very intimate connection.
Ave Maria Stella, Dei Mater Roma, atque semper Virgo, Felix Celi Porta.
Music thanatology is a form of palliative care that utilizes Celtic harp and voice in the support of people who are experiencing serious and terminal illness.
We honor, through our music, the intrinsic worth of every patient, of every family member that walks through our hospital doors. Sound and music is vibration. And we are all beings of vibration. Each one of us, even on a cellular level, there is vibration.
The way that the harp strings vibrate is much like the way that the nerve impulses travel up and down our spines. The vibration of the harp can be felt through the skin, can be conducted through our bones.
Music transcends cultures and languages. It breaks down barriers. I think of melodies that speak to different aspects of the human experience, whether it be melodies that speak to love, to sorrow, hope, joy. You have melodies that even are meant to support sleep.
The process of letting go of our physical selves is perhaps the most challenging part of life. In our visits to patients and their families, their loved ones, we call these visits vigils. And that's a nice word because vigil means to watch over. And we try to hold the space open and with deep observation. We want to listen. We want to use all of our senses, not only sight, but hearing, and just feeling a sense of warmth. What is the kind of warmth in the room? Is there tension in the room? And we enter in and we connect with the patient. We'll introduce ourselves, and then we'll sit. And we'll allow silence to emerge. And silence is an essential quality, essential element of our work. Because in silence, we can hear, we can listen, we can observe.
It is truly a privilege and an honor to be present to such sacred moments in the human journey and experience.
To be a witness of a mother who says goodbye to her baby, to children, adult children, who use body humor and with their estranged father and then end up coming to a point of reconciliation. To meet with a houseless person and to have that person open their eyes and acknowledge that there's presence, there's someone there with them. At these incredibly intimate and sacred moments is nothing but life-affirming because it reminds me every day what is important in my life.
I can't tell you the countless numbers of patients and family members who have invited us into these very sacred and intimate experiences to allow us to be present, even if just for a fraction of what it is that they're going through. And it is a profound and humbling experience to be a part of that.
For the earth, forever turning, for the skies and every sea.
Drums is one of those musical instruments that is universal. It's found everywhere in the world, everywhere you go. And it's used in a number of things, from birth to death and everything in between. We all have that natural rhythm, right? Think about your heartbeat. It has a unique cadence and rhythm. When you drum, you don't need words. You don't need to find the right words. You just need to let the expression and your emotions and the feelings do the talking for you. In my tradition, we've used sound and drum specifically in terms of rituals, in terms of lamentation, but also as a way to help people deal with anger and grief and frustration. This piece of drum is called a djembe. It ranges in sizes and shapes. Djembes can be small or big. This is a really medium-sized djembe. You can make a number of sounds on this. You can also make a sharp sound or a dull, deep sound, or what I call a slap, which gives a nice ring to it. Once upon a time, there was a young lady named Emily Gambling. And the beautiful thing about drumming for me is that you use all your senses. You can feel the vibration. You can hear it. You can see it, obviously. You make different sounds with different kinds of touch. You can feel, in this particular case, this is a sheep's skin. You can still feel some of the hair. One thing I have found helpful is recognizing the power of drum to elicit joy. Joy in the beauty of the sound and the beauty of the specific community you are creating. It does have a very soothing impact or soothing effect that really helps you remain grounded.
One of the things about this ministry is that it stretches from Seward, Alaska to Lubbock, Texas. And in that, we see a number of different rich indigenous cultures that can, for a moment, just pause and see tremendous color and diversity. And one of the things they always talk about is the drum represents the heartbeat. And I wonder, as we begin today, if you could take us through about how do you see music and the spirit of the body as one, that drum beat going through that heart?
Well, music has really functioned in two primary ways that goes back a long time. I think the old musical instrument is about 40,000 years old, a flute made out of an animal bone or something. But music has always played a huge part across all cultures. I mean, every culture has it. And its purposes have been to be an art form and to also be a form of communication. And but it's a form of communication that, at the risk of sounding romantic, because it's a huge romantic notion, you hear about this all the time in the Romantic period, but it's true. It's a form of communication that comes in when the spoken word just, is not enough, or when other things you do are just not enough. You need to have a different approach to communicate feelings, ideas, philosophical states, spiritual states. And especially if you just look at cultures internationally and the way they look at spirituality, it's very different. It's also very the same in many ways. And I think music plays a big part in that. And of course, specifically, our heartbeats. Yeah, that is our basic rhythm. I mean, that's kind of, I think that's where we get a lot of our basic rhythmic drive. That and some, and the brain and how the brain can help regulate the heart. So, that's a basic part of us that goes back for a long time and absolutely transcends really any culture and all cultures.
And it really, what I love to see is this notion that we can be in touch with something at a deeper level, and that music could really help us with that.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I mean, the simplest thing, the way to do it is when you're dealing with very young children. If you say, "Hey, son or daughter, I love you," it's at a certain point, they're going to understand what that means, and they might understand it at a very age. But if you hug them, there's a whole other level there, right? And if you sing to them, there's a whole other level there. And of course, as time goes by and how people develop, then you get into more. Music and art comes in both on some primal levels, but also, and I guess you could say, I don't want to use the word sophisticated, but yeah, more sophisticated or complex, emotional or philosophical or religious ideas. If you're trying to, we all know, let's say you're trying to explain God in words. How many people have tried to do it? I mean, it goes back to the beginning, and explain God through music. It's amazing how you can have that extra that you just don't have in literature. And I'm not saying literature isn't great, but
effective leaders listen. There is simply no way to get around this fact. Furthermore, ineffective leaders do not listen. Again, there is no getting around this. The act of listening begins with hearing. We think we all know how to listen, whether in an outpatient clinic, a hallway conversation, a time with a patient, a crowded cafeteria. Everywhere our jobs take us, but most of us need lessons in hearing. Throughout our lives, many of us have trained ourselves to stop hearing, to filter out background noise and other things we regard as interruptions. But as leaders, we need to keep our ears open to all the sounds of our environment. These sounds can expand our awareness of an issue or challenge. They can reveal the depth of a situation we might otherwise miss if we tune out those sounds. When we stop hearing, we stop listening. And when we stop listening, we stop understanding. Hearing allows us to comprehend the depth and relative seriousness of a situation. It enables us to engage in true dialogue and paves the way toward crucial conversations that we might have otherwise neglected. Listening is power, and hearing is how we get there.